Senator Dr. Mrs. Akwa, who is currently with His Excellency the Governor in the ongoing Ibom, Akwa Ibom dialogue. I bring greetings and goodwill from Her Excellency, Senator Dr. Mrs. Akwa, the Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State, on this occasion of the estate valuers or surveyors and valuers on their 2023 mandatory continuing professional development seminar. Yours is a profession that is highly skilled in maintenance of public infrastructure and assets, land, economy, professional property consulting, custodians of land and landed properties, land dispute arbitration. This is very pivotal to the states, and it is what every society that wants to progress and compete with the contemporary society cannot ignore. This role of yours are in tandem with the Arise agenda of the Governor, His Excellency, Pastor Omoinu. The Governor is so concerned and passionate about this, and he is looking forward to work with professionals like yours who are Akwa Ibomites to develop the states. You can see this in the blueprints of the ongoing Akwa Ibom dialogue, where 89 to 90% of the resource persons are all Akwa Ibomites. The Governor is ready to work with you, ready for you to be a team player to move Akwa Ibom forward and develop the states. So he is expecting that all hands will be on deck to do this. As a way of continuity, the Governor or the government is also beckoning on you to be passionate about training the younger generation, because they are the future leaders. When you exit the scene, and if they were not well prepared, they won't be able to take up the mandates and the challenges that will come. So it is the Governor's passion and wish that you will train the younger generation. I want to use this opportunity to congratulate you on this professional seminar today and to wish you more blessings, more good things to come as we will be partnering together. God bless you.
Thank you so very much, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor, here ably represented by our Permanent Secretary. At this point, like I predicted, that this seminar was by Nigerian standards to start by 11 a.m. You can see I think about 5 minutes to 11, the hall is now full. And at this point too, I like to observe that it appears that the younger generation don't know much of the older generation of this institution. In fact, I observed that even when one of the lecturers of today's seminar came in, nobody seemed to recognize him, was looking for where to sit. And at this point, I like to use my chairmanship position to invite to the high table. I think it's Professor Celestine Udia. And at this point too, I'd like to announce the exit of the deputy governor by a representative. Like I said, she's attending the dialogue at Icon Hotel, Ibom Icon Hotel. And I will also like to recognize the presence of our very good associates, a tax consultant, immediate past or one-time chairman of Ibom local government, Mr. Joshua Asuku, and the branch chairman of APB in Akwa Ibom State. I hope you know what APBN means. Okay. I also like to introduce one of the latest members of my committee, that's Committee of Fellows. That is Mr. Emmanuel Inyawundo, or Pastor Emmanuel Inyawundo. Yes. At this point, I'd like to hand over to the MC to continue serially from the program of events.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to add to the list of dignitaries to be recognized the following. Mr. Sonia Balwai Elder Sam Bassi is the chairman, the Association of Estate Surveyors and Valuers Cross River State branch. Let's round of applause for him. We have in our midst Estate Surveyor Valuer James Efion, Head of Department, the Estate Management, University of Cross River State. You're welcome. Estate Surveyor Valuer Elder Otampa Gabi is the Financial Secretary of Cross River State branch. You're welcome, sir. Estate Surveyor Valuer Ekuso Oban, an ex-official of Cross River State branch, and all our colleagues from Cross River State and other states that have come to join us. I will also, in the same vein, recognize the Dean, School of Environmental Studies at Akwa State Polytechnic, is yesterday Sonia Balwa, Dr. Israel Daughter. And the whole year with us is Esther Sonia Balwa, Dr. Mrs. Chichita, the head of department, Estate Management, University of New York. Of course, we have Esther Sonia Balwa, who celebrated Ciel, the head of department, Trinity Polytechnic, and member of the Mcpd. We are glad to have you here. Very warmly, especially, I'd like to recognize members of the state ESCO. They've been very busy running around and seeing to it that things take shape. The young man that is busy working about right now is the secretary of the branch, Estate Surveying and FFM Akwa. The policy secretary of the branch Estate Surveying of Ma Okoro Otumba, please. Otumba, Ima Okoro is here. I've seen Estate Surveying and it will be secretary, the assistant secretary of the branch is here. I've seen the one woman that will soon be clustering around her, and that is she's the treasurer of the branch and one in charge of today's welcome package. Estate Surveying and this is Yenime Raphael. I'd like to recognize Estate Surveying Valua, Ekwere Obut, a senior member of the branch and a senior staff of government. Let me start there. You're welcome, sir. And my chairman, about a year ago, we had an occasion that we gathered like this. And before the due day, I had announced that the women of the branch should come out gorgeously dressed in their uniform. They came, but to an act of unfortunate oversight, I couldn't recognize them. And I took a good deal of flags for failing to take the same flags that I took the other time. I'd like to very warmly recognize the beautiful, the gorgeous, the respondent of the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers Akwa State Branch. Yes, under the leadership of Our Excellency, Estate Surveyor Valuer Mrs. Udemebo in you. I welcome you. You are welcome. Women, you are beautiful. God bless you all. Thank you so much. Thank you. While I was doing that, the vice chairman of the branch sneaked in. So I'd like to welcome, Estate Surveyor and Valuer, Elder Ufre Ufot. I can see him now. Okay, he's here. You're welcome, sir. God bless you. Okay, and all of us that are here, the great Nigerian students are in the house. Greatest Papa. Greatest academic, yeah. You're welcome. God bless you. Mr. Chairman, I'd now like to go back to you. Okay, on the instruction and order of the branch chairman, please the chairman of Akwa State branch should please come to the item talking about Estate Surveyor by Elder Sam Bassi. And we are privileged to have the secretary of APBN in our midst. Please, I welcome you. Thank you so much for honoring us with your presence. God bless you. Please come to the item. Okay, I have also been made to understand that the chairman of Nigerian Institute of Builders is here in our midst. Thank you so much, builder, for coming. God bless you. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to appreciate the presence of the Director of Gates and the State Ministry of Land and Water Resources, talking about no other person than Esther Sylvia Baba, Mrs. Patricia Ibom. I'd like to recognize Esther Sylvia and Valua, Manuel Yamudo, and fellow of the institution. You're welcome, sir. I'd like to recognize Esther Sylvia and Valua, Mrs. Nsewaba, a fellow of the institution. You're welcome, sir. Okay, thank you. I'd like to recognize and appreciate the presence of one of the foremost estate surveyors, one of the foremost estate surveyors and values. I think I was made to understand it was the pioneer set of College of College of Technology. Is a dear friend, a senior colleague of mine, and I'm talking about no other person than Esther Sylvia and Valua Ito Etunwa, a man they call the Might. You're welcome, sir. So happy to have you in our midst. I'd like to respectfully invite the chairman of the Nigerian Institute of Builders, my good friend, Mr. Onyeme Eshet, please, to the end table. Thank you. Okay, that's done. I great the indulgence of Mr. Chairman to move to some of the items that I earlier skipped because we needed to take care of some urgent issues. And one of such is the welcome speech by the chairman of the branch. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Esther Sylvia and Valua Obut Abba.
Good morning. Being a pastor, I had to hold back, praise the Lord, but I think I should still do that. Can somebody shout hallelujah? Which is a confirmation of God's presence here. I sincerely appreciate the MC so far for wonderful work he's doing, and trust as we continue, none shall miss out of this program. The chairman of the occasion, when you have chairman with plenty feathers, introduction is very difficult, but I think I will hold to the one that we know amidst politicians, amidst Estate Surveyor Valua is that is a paramount ruler of fellows of the branch, and this is a new and very heavy office. I'm talking about our Itai, a fellow and a senior member of the institution. Estate Surveyor Valua Sonny, sir. We appreciate you. Thank you very much, sir. The Deputy Governor representative, though, has moved. The distinguished Senator Ifeombo, our guest, our keynote speaker, though he has moved, I want to recognize them all. And our president of the institution, here represented by another very big wit,
It will appear some of us don't know the powers of BOT chairman. And being a member of the council have taught me that it will appear that on most cases, the BOT chairman are past presidents, meaning these are major stake of the branch. I welcome you, sir, our BOT chairman, Professor Osno Tebulu. Thank you very much, sir. We recognize you. He's a lover of the branch, lover of Cross River State, lover of Niger Delta. If you clap better, I think it may affect you positively. Thank you very much. The chairman of Etinan, our dear colleague, though he has moved, Mrs. Oweyon Balewa, Honorable Mrs. Oweyon Balewa, Cletus Epo, I want to still recognize him. And then the member of the ESCO team of the branch. These are very wonderful people. Please, can you help me celebrate them? Can you help me celebrate them? They have been very, very wonderful. I want to recognize our very distinguished chairman of APBN, which our chairman had earlier reflected, is the head of all the professional bodies in the states. So you're welcome. Pleased to have you here. And also a distinguished guest that are all the way from Cross River State and other branches. Dear noble colleague, we are pleased to have you here. You're most welcome. Our very elders and senior colleague in the branch, we appreciate you. And I want to use this opportunity to observe the support and the harvest of useful resources of some of the elders of the branch. I want to be careful not to mention names, but I want to also believe that the persons concerned should certainly know. There are some of them that are very dear to me as long as we come on board. I don't want to mention names so that I'll not be, I may not fall short, but please, we appreciate you. And the esteemed members of the branch, we celebrate you dearly. The women wing, I want to stop at this point to really celebrate these wonderful women. Each time you see women, you must know the women are distinctive. If you look around them within the hall, they have an identity. I don't know if they can just stand with the flag with a great clap so that we can recognize you very dearly. Our women, you're wonderful. Please, can you start? Are you shy? I know if this event, yes. You're most welcome. We appreciate you. We appreciate the leader here. I had to, please have your seat, God bless you. I had to do this. When the women front is distorted, you're in serious trouble. So I don't want it to go down record that I missed this one. And I believe at this point I can continue. I want to recognize our dignitaries from Lands, Assistant Director of Lands. I've seen the Director of Deeds. You're most welcome to this event. And other wonderful guests from other branches, the chairman of the Institute of Builders here present, we appreciate you, sir. The secretary of APBN, we appreciate you, sir. And other guests from different walks of life. Please permit me to stand at this point to say, ladies and gentlemen, all present here, I celebrate you all. Our resource persons here, you're just wonderful. Dr. Edem Isara, we celebrate you, sir. Esther Soyo Balewa Odia, we celebrate you, sir. My lecturer and my boss. We are glad to have you, sir. You're most welcome. I want to make a slight adjustment in my speech as it contains here. It's unfortunate that when I saw the speech, I said to one of us that something is missing from what I've seen here, but I don't think much has missed, except the great appreciation that I need to make. I celebrate God for the possibility of this program and the huge success this program has given us. I'm grateful to God, and I'm equally very, very grateful to wonderful member of the branch ESCO of the branch. I can go on and on and on to celebrate you. I think I should eat a bit. About 11 o'clock, the publicity secretary sent pictures to the platform while they were still arranging this. And by 2 o'clock, 2 a.m., he sent another message. He has taken delivery. Those are exceptional commitment that cannot be ignored. Please, can we celebrate this wonderful man? He has been wonderful. I don't think there is any problem to exceptionally recognize you, sir. You're done well. Where is he? He's running up and down. You're doing well. God bless you. So I sincerely appreciate our members of the branch, the sponsors for this program, to make this program a huge success, and the ceaseless contributions of our resource persons, resourceful members. We celebrate you. And I'm just praying that this good work will continue. Peradventure, I've missed out your name. Just pardon me. Maybe, I'm standing from far, but I know that you are really recognized. The planning committee, the chairman of the planning committee, please appreciate you all, and the Mcpd committee people, I appreciate you. Land is an indispensable resource to the growth and development of any society or nation. Since virtually all human activities revenge and investment purposes such as facilities and security, economic enhancement, and restoration of the natural environment. Therefore, the effectiveness of any land acquisition process is directly proportional to and largely responsible for the delivery of sustainable projects. Where the acquisition of land fails, the project is certainly on a time bomb, which can collapse, which can burst anytime. When you're having speech and you're having audience that are mixed, it's good to be careful of some references so that, as a branch, we are trying to repackage our position. So I'll be careful not to be too direct on some issues. But there are projects within the states that certainly maybe like time bomb, God forbid anything happen. Why? Because land wasn't acquired properly. Experience has shown that development projects made on defective land acquisition procedures, weak compensation regime, and inappropriate entitlement delivery mechanism have the potency to cause in-season conflict and discomfort in project host communities, and by extension, unsustainable project development in Nigeria. Consequently, if you drive through before while they were building the Dakada place, you see community writing, making some inscriptions on the walls. inscriptions such as compensation not paid yet, adequate compensation not paid yet. These are tendencies that something may have gone wrong in the process of acquisition. We are also aware of some situations where individuals, for one reason or the other, harasses, frustrates holders of interest within government facilities. Is an indication certainly that something may have missed from the beginning. Consequently, there is a strong need to develop an effective land acquisition framework with capacity to deliver that type of development that takes care of today's need without compromising the ability of future generations to also meet their own needs. Development is on the living, is for the living. So if the people you're developing for are dead, I want the people to use the facilities. So it's good to consider the community. I am persuaded we are set for an impactful and enriching seminar, considering the carefully created sub-themes and the depth of knowledge, competence, and exposure of the resource persons who would be sharing ideas with us in this gathering. A piece that we've had from our keynote speaker is an indication of more or what you will get in this seminar. I enjoin my noble colleagues and participants to be fully part of all the sessions, physically or virtually, as the case may be. Permit me to appreciate most respectfully the chief guest of honor here, who for purpose or for reason of government activity within the same time not here. And a special guest of honor, the Deputy Governor, which was represented here for a support towards professionals programs in and outside the states. I heard when the MC was introducing, he said she's a lover of professional operations and knives in particular. Let me also appreciate a keynote speaker, the distinguished Senator Ifeanyi. It is my belief that no one is more qualified for this role than the distinguished Senator Ifeanyi, a former member of Lands Allocation Advisory Committee in Akwa Ibom State, a former chairman of Ibom local government area, a former Attorney General of Akwa Ibom State, a distinguished senator and politician, a former Pro-Chancellor and Chairman Governing Council of the University of Benin. You can go on and on and on. We appreciate your prompt acceptance of this role. When I met the distinguished senator, as a matter of fact, that was the first time of my contact with him. And immediately he started telling issues to confirm that he knows much about our practice, even than we think. And he did not hesitate to say, yes, please do, he's not here. I think we can give him another applause for being part of the success of this program. So sharing your wealth of knowledge with us and your presence to our amiable resource persons, SSOE Valewa Dr. Edem Esara and SSOE Valewa Celeste Rudia, I am saying thank you to you because this is certainly a huge success for your constant availability towards the growth and development of our institution. Our royal fathers expected to have been here but for the government program. I celebrate you even in your absence. We are grateful to have you all for honoring our invitation. I greet very especially our esteemed house members who are not here for very, very understandable reasons. Thank you for identifying with us. The chairman of the Association of Professional Body here present, Akwa Ibom State Chapter, and chairman of other professional bodies for your presence and your goodwill messages here and the ones that will come. I would like to thank the ESCO members of the branch, valuable elders and senior associates, and the entire members for your great support and presence. To our sponsors and entire MCPD committee members, thank you, dear noble colleagues, for your selfless services. I welcome you all once again to the 2023 MCPD seminar event of the Nigerian Institute of Essence of and Value of Akwa State, and wish us a fruitful discussion. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for welcoming us. While Mr. Chairman was presenting his welcome address, Mr. Soveillon Valua, Barrister Imendo, a fellow of the institution, walked in. I'd like to appreciate his presence for coming, for finding time to be here. Thank you so much, sir. All right, with the kind permission of Mr. Chairman, I would like to at this juncture invite to the next stand to present the address of Mr. President. And I'm inviting no other person than the board BOT chairman himself, a professor of the profession. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Austin Mcpd.
Fellow colleagues, distinguished participants and guests for this CPD. I stand here to represent the president of the institution, John Bull Amaev, who is inevitably absent in this occasion. He wished so much to be here, but his other pressure to address so many issues at the secretariat of the institution. And for this reason, he was not able to attend this program. He extends his good wishes to the branch and to all participants. He cherishes the desire of the branch to enrich their members through professional development, which will add value to their practice and to their knowledge content. This institution places much value to acquisition of knowledge and skill of its members. As far as we know, the greatest aspect of a professional person is knowledge and integrity. And this CPD will enrich all of us in our professional skill and add extra knowledge to our practice so that we'll be able to serve our clients better. On this note, I wish all participants happy celebration on this CPD. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. That was a good message from no less a personality than the president of Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers. Estate Surveyor and Valuer, John Bull Amaev, represented and presented, a speech presented by Professor Austin Mcpd. We appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's about time we took the first lecture, and our resource person is here. He is one of us, a dear friend, a dear brother, a father, one that we love to associate with. Is a consultant estate surveyor and valuer and fellow of the Environmental Management Association of Nigeria, Ibom, with excellent analytical expertise in sustainable development issues. He is also a World Bank consultant on the preparation and implementation of the Settlement Action Plan, RAP, a consultant to the United Nations Rural Access and Agricultural Marketing Project. A fellowship awardee to the Institute for Public-Private Partnership, Washington, D.C., United States of America, for a 2-month training on environmental assessment and management after being adjudged Best Program Manager, South-South Zone of Nigeria for United Nations Development Program. Assisted Environment and Natural Resources Management Program. He backed several academic and professional excellence awards and distinctions in estate surveying and valuation and environmental management. He has served variously as Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, Branch Executive Council member, and chairman of different committees of Ibom for more than 20 years. Before his retirement from public service, he had served variously as Lands Officer in the Ministry of Lands and Housing. He had been the Director of International Affairs and Industrial Cooperation at Akwa State University of Technology. He had been Secretary, Technical Advisor, Ibom Environmental Protection and Waste Management Urges. He's been head Directorate of Pollution Monitoring, Control and Assessment at Akwa State Ministry of Environment. He has also been editor at Ibom Environment, a quarterly newsletter of AXIPA. He's been coordinator UNDP FEPA Environmental Management Training Workshop in Europe with focus on the all industry environment. He's been a Akwa State Government team representative to the Mcpd Trade Mission to Germany, organized by Nigeria German Business Council, and has also attended many important local and international assignments, meetings, workshops, seminars, and conferences. With MSc and PhD degrees in environmental management, he has demonstrated deep non-technical competencies in his good communication and interpersonal skills. His outpost and an analytical mindset in delivering set objectives. His capacity to work progressively under pressure to meet organizational time frame is legendary. He has the ability to handle multitask challenges, effective time management, and uncanny capacity to relate with people from diverse cultural backgrounds in order to transfer knowledge. He is a called usher at the Church of God Mission International at Bishopric Headquarters, and is happily married. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor and privilege to invite Estate Surveyor and Valuer, Dr. Edemesara, whose profile I just read, to take on the first theme, sub-theme, preparation and implementation of the Settlement Action Plan, RAP, for Sustainable Development of Project, the Akwa New Map Experience. Ladies and gentlemen, if your hands are not too busy, I think a clap of me will be just fine. Thank you. I'm sure we still could have clapped better than that, if not for anything, but intimidation because of the intimidation.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC. Mr. Chairman, sir, I feel humbled by some of those things that I've read about. At times, I wonder if I am the person they're talking about, particularly when I see the person. The person facilitated this one. He says I shouldn't say anything about it, but I think I don't know how to stop saying it. I'm talking about Professor Godfrey. My very good friend, and he says I should add my classmate. We happen to have started estate management together at the then College of Technology. Please put your hands together for that institution, because it has produced many estate surveyors and valuers for graduates. We started with 28 in the class, and by second year we were reduced to 14, and 10 of us graduated, 2 distinctions and 8 credits. I just want to also recognize, before I start my presentation, my boss, the tie. I'm talking about Sonny Odumi. At times, he forgets that he was my boss way back in the 80s, late 80s, when we did the 3 mangoes, you know. He showed me what the profession is all about. And so I still recognize what my boss any day. I don't want to skip the protocol. Let me recognize Professor Tebulu, because when I was doing my PhD, he was the first to encourage me on environmental valuation. I don't want to forget about it. Prof, I still remember that day at in your hotel room, you called me and you told me a lot of things, and I'm not regretting it, sir. Thank you very much. Let me appreciate and also acknowledge some people who helped me through this project. I'm talking about the preparation and implementation of the settlement action plan for sustainable development of projects here at New Market Experience. There are many people who help us to do what we did to be able to do. I think I just thank you. I just want to acknowledge our dear Moon, and she's also been talking about estate survey and value of Mrs. Sewaba. Incidentally, at the New Market Experience, we don't go come there on project name or the name of your company. You go there as an individual. That's how what human. I mean, what World Bank does. I also want to recognize the contributions of former chairman ESB Regetz in my life. It's been a brother indeed. Let me, no special order, let me not forget to mention Dr. Udwaka, and I don't know if he said was the monitoring and evaluation officer for Newman. He's been very instrumental to the wealth of knowledge I've garnered over the years in sustainable development, particularly even in managing these projects that we are talking about now. The chairman of the branch, ESB Waterman, was also an inspiration. He was actually at that project that I knew the other side of him, that is not just a normal estate survey and valuer. Please put your hands together for him. ESB Waterman. I don't want to forget our barrister, our appropriate officer, talking about the valuation, the valuer general, ESB barrister Ibom. It was at that point that I knew that it's one of those things that we need to do. Whatever value that you present must be authenticated by the appropriate officer. And I thank you very much for not letting me down, because some of the professional mix that we had to do, we had to take the bull by the horn and authenticate, and not forgetting our very dear one, ESB. I hear there is something called associate doctor now. I don't know about it. I used to hear associate prof. I'm talking about Okun. Very soon is defending, so I think we can call him associate. At least can I call him associate doctor? All right. I just want to speak to this paper for about 20 minutes. I remember when I was defending my PhD, I was supposed to present for 30 minutes, but my prof said I should do it for 15 minutes. And I remember when I finished the presentation, 10 minutes, the first question was, convince me that you were the one who did this job. Please, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Professor. All right. The content of this, I don't know if you can screen it, is okay. The slide 2, I've already mentioned the topic. The background will be looking at what involuntary resettlement is, and we'll also be looking at the drawbacks of involuntary resettlement. We'll briefly look at what sustainable development is, and what RAP is, Settlement Action Plan, and what RAP is. Also, we'll also look at the cash compensation contracts. The World Bank environment and the social management framework we look at vis-a-vis what we have in the Land Use Act. If you look at the risks associated with the compensation schemes, World Bank and many other funding organizations need to draw up an agreement that will enable them be what they have to be in terms of being the organization that we can have poverty alleviation at its best. That's the basic thing. World Bank and all of them, what they have at the back of the mind is that there should be poverty alleviation. Because once we talk about money, given the trust deficits that we have in the world today, particularly in developing economies, you need some checks and balances to be able to deliver the money to the path the appropriate officer. So we'll also be looking at NUMAP and the rapid implementation at the IBB Avenue and Environment Control Scheme. Particularly, that's why we are here. We look at the preparation one, and we look at the implementation, which is another thing, the lessons of experience that we have from that project, and of course, the challenges that we have. Then we try to conclude. Let's go to slide 4, please. Slide 4. All right, it's not very clear. I don't know. I'm sure you have your papers with you. I just want to say that wow. Okay. Well, let me start by saying that the effectiveness of any land acquisition process is directly proportional to and largely responsible for the delivery of sustainable projects. I'm sure somebody's asking, what do we really mean by sustainable projects? Sustainable projects are those projects which take care of today's needs without compromising the ability of future generations to also meet their own needs. I say it again, that sustainable projects, just like defining sustainable development, are those projects which can meet the needs of today without compromising the ability of future generations to also meet their needs. So development projects involving physical infrastructure usually require the acquisition of land by governments. That was clearly stated by a keynote speaker. Of course, the branch chairman also emphasized that fiscal development, definitely projects infrastructure, they are not built in the air. Even if they are built in the air is still a part of land. I still remember my Polytechnic and my College of Technology, it is the legal definition of land, air is a part of it. So land acquisition sometimes leads to involuntary settlements of persons who have legal and or beneficial rights. I don't know the kind of rights that we are thinking of now, when we're talking about the use rights or usufructory rights, or any kind of right which is beneficial, something that's a right that is benefits the people to the land and who may be buying and utilizing the land for various purposes. Involuntary settlements, I'm sure we know that that means land has been associated with a high risk of impoverishment due to loss of land, loss of jobs, loss of incomes, loss of homes, etc. You will agree with me that it is not possible for us to eat omelets without breaking eggs. Are we together? So in that case, we just have to acquire and possess people, and at times forcefully inverted commerce to be able to locate our projects. In Nigeria, involuntary resettlement is often called compensation, and it is governed by the Land Use Act. Focus in Nigeria is always on monetary compensation for loss of land, for loss of properties. Here somebody is asking. So it's not monetary compensation, land for land compensation. All right, so challenges with payment of compensation about, and one may ask, you can see on the slide, we have inaccurate delays in payment of compensation, poor community engagements, lack of any form of grievance redress mechanism. Made on defective land acquisition procedures in weak compensation regimes and inappropriate entitlement delivery mechanism have the potency to cause incessant conflicts and discontent in project communities, and of course, by extension, unsustainable projects. That's why you have projects which don't. Let's look at the World Bank's ESMF versus Land Use Act. Like I said earlier, given the risk associated with involuntary settlement of compensation streams, infrastructure projects financed by the World Bank are expected to follow the bank's environment and social management framework. Field experience has also shown that in a private state, as in other states in Nigeria, the process of land acquisition has been deeply influenced by specific intervention investment packages, some of which have international flavor and they go beyond the spirit of the Land Use Act. The first slide we have on the Nigerian law and of course the World Bank OB 3.12, which regulates compensation. We have there the first. Is it visible? I'm worried because it appears people are not following because slides are not. Okay. So land ownership, when we look at land ownership, the Nigerian law says that cash compensation based on. I think you can look at the but I think we will follow from the right side. This is just the name. All right, so landowners, when it comes to statutory rights, cash compensation based on market value, that's what the Land Use Act says. But when it comes to the World Bank, they say that preference for land compensation, if not cash at full replacement value, including transfer costs. When it comes to customary rights, the Land Use Act says cash compensation for land improvements, compensation in kind with other village and district land. The World Bank says not only that the preference for land-to-land compensation, that is, if you have land in a particular place that's interested in properly acquired, it will be moved to a location not far from where you live. But it will be, that is what they want to call land-for-land compensation, land of equal or equivalent value, equivalent location, if not cash at full replacement value, including transfer costs. If you're a tenant on the Land Use Act says compensation will be based on the value of the residual value held under the tenancy agreement, and you'll be entitled to compensation based upon the quality of rights, the amount of rights that you have, that you hold on the land. You're a supporter, just a tenant, what is your land holding? What's the quality of the holding? The World Bank says compensation is based on value residual rights held under the tenancy agreements plus disturbance allowances. People are also entitled to some form of compensation, whatever the legal recognition of their occupancy. When it comes to agricultural land, users are not entitled to compensation for land. Compensation for standing crops only according to values established from time to time by the state governments. And apart from states, I don't know if there is anyone that we have after the one that came up, the government rate that came up in 2012. I'm not too sure that we have another one since then. That's why when we did. For the World Bank, it's a compensation in kind of cash for the value of land, compensation and full replacement value for lost crops, and even economic trees and perennial crops. Then the CAPS may be entitled to replacement land and income restored to pre-project levels at least. So let me mention that the World Bank also recognizes a situation where a fraction of the land, a fraction of the total land owned by the partners, the project, the project affected persons, but renders the remaining land unusable. Compensation value should be on the whole, that is the total land affected. You have the actual land lost plus the remaining usable land. The current prices of crops are determined taking into account government recommended rates and highest market price, whichever one is higher. By now, I'm sure you will know the one which is higher. All right, owners of structures, as buildings, permanent and okay, cash compensation for land use act says that the Nigerian law says it should be cash compensation based on market values, taking account of depreciation. It should also be cash compensation based on market value for owners of non-permanent buildings. But the World Bank says that it has to be compensation in kind compensation for buildings, or cash and full replacement value, including labor, relocation costs, relocation expenses, and transfer costs. Added to this will be the disturbance allowances owners of non-permanent buildings are entitled to in-kind compensation or cash compensation at full replacement cost, including labor and relocation expenses. What of losers of livelihood? Farmers, business people, employees. The Nigerian says that there is no consideration other than cash values for assets as described above by the asset category. The World Bank says that the key objective is restoration of capacity to generate incomes at least at levels prior to the losses. There is also no specific requirement for establishing an independent grievance redress mechanism. The World Bank says that the grievance mechanism will be set up as early as possible in the process, right from when you are in the field, to receive and address in a timely fashion specific concerns about compensation and relocation that are raised by displaced persons and our members of host communities, including a recourse mechanism designed to resolve disputes in an impartial manner. Please, let's go to slide 12. Okay, what is NUMAP? NUMAP is Nigeria Erosion and Watershed Management Project. It was established as a 12-year multi-sectoral and multi-scale program supported by World Bank, Global Environment Facility, and Special Climate Change Fund. The project development objectives of NUMAP is to reduce vulnerability to severe land degradation in several states in Nigeria. Ibom State benefited from the part of the $900 million US, and it started. The NUMAP itself started with 7 states in 2012 and ended in 2022 with 23 states. The program up to June last year, before we did the last project, which was before we folded up the last project, which was the IBB, the one that we are talking about today, the IBB and the new and flood control project. In Akwa State, Akwa State was admitted to the new MAP family in 2016, and we had jobs at the body erosion site at the moment. Some of us have heard that this is now well stabilized, and of course, the St. Luke's Hospital body erosion site. Then the one that we are talking about today is the flood control at IBP, the new environments and flood control project. So, what did we do at this IBP Avenue and Environments Flood Control Scheme? Let's look at slide 15, please. Overview of IBP Avenue and Environments Flood Control Scheme. The scheme ran 8.4 kilometers of main drain comprising of 6.05 kilometers of concrete drains, 0.8 kilometers of gabion and granular mattresses, 1.5 of vegetative channel. A total of 764 persons were identified as project affected persons, and the total cost of implementing the RAM was about 1.3 million. That is the cost of the compensation, that's 1.3 billion. When we came out of the site in 2018, 2019, the total cost was 3.3 billion. And of course, as usual, it was adjudged very high. So they had to do a bit of adjustment in the project corridor, reducing the number of buildings, the number of affected structures, and that's why we came down to this 1.3 billion. For economic trees, the PAPs were 543. For unexhausted improvements, the PAPs were 42. That's talking about surveyed lands where you have blocks, where you have boundaries fixed. Then land and structures were 179 project affected persons. It's good to mention that based on the agreements governing the project, the Akwa state government was responsible for both the RAP preparation and RAP implementation. What are the lessons that we learned from this RAP preparation? The first experience is that we cannot ignore the potency or the effect of extensive consultation with representatives of affected communities and indeed all stakeholders to assess the adequacy and acceptability of the proposed compensation and modalities adopted. The modalities we adopted, we couldn't just go to the kind of thing that we used to do when we were in lands. I couldn't use it. We had to do extensive consultation. As a matter of fact, consultation took us almost 2 months. We consulted with all the stakeholders that were recognized from the we had to consult with almost we are in slide 16, please. Slide 16. Yes. Okay, so we had to do detailed engagement with stakeholders and project affected persons. And this was very, very important. Very, very important, because that is where we had to do the buy-in, we had to ensure that the ownership concept was firmly integrated. And we also ensured that even the determination of the rates that we used, we made sure that the PAPs also contributed. We allowed them to ventilate. We didn't just go there with preconceived ideas, rates, government rates. No, we had to engage them. We had to go to the market with them to be able to determine the kind of rates that we use. We looked at the SPDC rate, we want for Niger Delta. We looked at all those kind of, we looked at the federal government rates. We discovered that we needed to come up with a rate that was kind of environment, but also the kind of compensation that we did was quite above what the government have paid. We also discovered that we had to, that legal title, the absence of legal title to land and other assets, we didn't allow that to be a barrier to compensation for lost assets and to other settlement assistance. Another lesson was that the compensation rates that we used, we applied consistently throughout the life of the project to protect sponsors from unjustified and exaggerated claims, make sure that all the stakeholders, including the youth, women, were part of the establishing the population regimes, and we used it consistently. Let me also mention that these rates that we used were published, approved, and published in the World Bank website. You know, they were disclosed. There was no hidden thing, you know, so it helped to showcase transparency in all ramifications. I think we need to mention that it was also important to where the market values for assets were not well established. You know, property markets in emerging economies, particularly for intangibles, as values which were not readily monetized. We had to take that into consideration. We had to do that for a number of reasons. One of the other lessons that relate to the role is the services and the strategic role of communication experts in opinion molding and awareness creation at the community level. They were not just peripheral, but we discovered that using professional communication experts to sensitize people, create awareness, mold opinions is very helpful. Their use was very helpful. And I recommend that we shouldn't assume that we know everything, particularly using people from that environment. Like we had to go through the number of villages that we did, and we needed people, opinion molders, people in the communities that when they speak, people will always listen. Another lesson that we had is that improved documentation, that's like 17 now. Improved documentation, a special database with several fields, including pictures of parts collecting their checks, copy of checks, and all of that. We had to do that for obvious reasons. No pictures don't lie. I'm sure it's also good to hear this that new maps adherence to the provisions of Public Procurement Act for 2007 as amended. NUMAP insisted at all times on the identification of consultant values by the appropriate officer of government. That's why I mentioned our barrister, the Evaluator General, is at that time, even after I retired, it was still very helpful. It helped in dousing fears and apprehensions and settlement of disputes, especially inadequate competence. The Evaluator General has authenticated this. The setting up and operationalizing a grievance redress procedure was also different from what is experienced in government. When once a grievance arises right on the field stage, the name and contact of the complainant, of course, you have to open a logbook right from the field. Mention the name and contact of the claimant, the name of complainant, date we received, the signature, amongst like 18 languages. The signature, the action that we took was also recorded. The outcome of the solution was also recorded. The response of the program management units or project management unit was also recorded. Of course, the remarks. Talking about remarks reminds me of one of the special things we did was to provide this remarks column for every part. In other words, when you are in the field and you are recording, is it crops or plants? There is a special column called remarks column that you have to put everything, the details of that property. Why is this important? So that over time, if a complaint comes in, if a query comes in, you'll be able to refer to the field. Of course, the field is always the last resort, is always the step at the level. It will also remind you agreement. Closing out means everybody will sign that they've agreed. We had a particular occasion that somebody, after closing out, decided to petition New York as World Bank headquarters. Then they did not receive any complaint, did not receive any compensation, and that even the compensation was inadequate. And by the time we came out to this documentation, this agreement, just closing out signature, the group said it. That was the end of all. So documentation is very, very key to sustainable development of projects. We even had to develop a chart for the purpose of this presentation. I think it wasn't necessary to. But let me mention other experiences that we had in the field, and I probably give one or two pieces of advice. We saw that there was a need for us to adopt strategies where not only proactive, but were inclusive and very adaptive. We adapt the situation we need to feel to the things that we found on paper. The developers cooperation, that is those who give you the money, will always be our watchword, was always our watchword. We always looked inwards through professional, motivated brainstorming and came up with a mixed scale of standards reflecting the international best practices without losing the local content, that the cultural values necessary for environmental sustainability projects. I said this earlier that there was need for us to do a disclosure, and that disclosure really helped in reinforcing transparency. I also said earlier that there's a trust deficit in our economy, so always see the need to close the awareness gap in knowledge and development imperatives of our time. I also said earlier that communities were actually allowed and encouraged to ventilate ideas at all stages of the ride. We're actually people-centric. We look at the people because without the people, the project will mean nothing. Over erection of overnight structures, of course, you know that in anticipation of for compensation, you know that is blackmail by whatever standard you want to look at. That is to say the least. So, what do you do as an estate surveyor and valuer when you find these overnight structures? That level of blackmail. The sensors that we took, the photographs, at times we had to do some, flight drones. The cutoff date strategy was also very important. Ahead of the actual field, you will have need to agree with the community on structures that are there, the farms that are there, the number of paths that we find there. So that the day you go for a field work, it will be very easy. No extra person will come in. There are costs at the surface, because if somebody comes in to say that he was not around when the cutoff date was, cutoff date is actually dates beyond which no other person is supposed to come in with. The World Bank says you should not be so sacrosanct about that you can be very flexible, provided the community people agree with you on what to do. I also said earlier that acceptability of the project was very important, ownership, and of course, we needed to walk the talk. Whatever we said we were going to do, we had to do it. Of course, it reminds me of our honesty and devotion. And of course, if you add the fairly. So there was this sense of ownership that we fused in projects, acceptability. The urgency was also there. And of course, the culture of the people, that sense of culture was established. Interest of the camps was very prominent. Okay, let's look at the challenges that we had, and I think we close from there. Another lesson, maybe before we go to the challenges, another lesson that we had there was the use of the same set of consultants for preparation and implementation. Preparation of RAP is actually the field work, while implementation is the compensation payments. See, the process of preparing RAP involves extensive field work and interaction with property owners, different categories of claimants. These experiences of the consultants among stagnating peace. These experiences of the consultant, claimants, and community members during the preparation of the RAP are very vital during the implementation and resolving grievances. I think I stressed that earlier. Therefore, the consultant that prepared the RAP should be engaged during the implementation of RAP and in resolving grievances. Not the kind of thing that we have here that Ministry of Works will go and do the work, and they put the grievances on the laps of Ministry of Lands. Let's look at the challenges. What were there? You have about 4 or 5 of them here. Delay in the release of funds and non-adjustment for inflationary effects. As usual, there is no money, there is no money. So there was a delay in the release of funds, such that you do a job in 2018 and the money was paid in 2020, 2021. Of course, you know the loss that we have experienced. No post-implementation monitoring and evaluation of PAPs. We're supposed to monitor the PAPs, even in the use of the money, compensation money that we pay. But that has not been carried out because there was no provision for that in the budget. Another challenge that we had there was the Akwa estate. The road passed through Akwa estate. I don't know if you saw that. We passed through Akwa estate. And there was an unclear system of land compensation for plots of land in Akwa estate. We had about 15 plot owners, 15 plot owners at the Akwa estate, who have lost their property to the flood control scheme. They were supposed to be given alternative land. But up to today, I'm not sure that has been done. Lack of contingent budget for the settlement needs that arise during and after civil wars. There was also no contingent budget for that. Maybe I have to mention this. The challenge that we had there was denying claimants the right to professional representation. World Bank is not clear on third-party representation. So we had to come up with a mix that enabled us to professionally do our job and also not go against what World Bank stipulates. Maybe I have to straighten this further. That it affected me as a consultant because I was not paid as what we call it now, professional fees. I was only paid consultancy fees. Another thing that's challenge that we had that initially, in fact, stalled the project for about 3 months. Embarking on right of way acquisition, that is by word of mouth, official letter and creation, so to speak, without publication of the necessary, the appropriate notice of the publication of and service of the appropriate notice. That was not drivers of and political leaders in the development process. Outside lands ministry will ignore all known laws on land acquisition and for public procurement of services. If you find a situation where Minister of the Environment was the one having the money and Minister of Lands doing the work, so to speak, that's really evaluation, value general. So it was not very easy. Those are some of the challenges we had. I want to conclude by saying that it may not be possible to know whether the implementation of RAP at the IBB project scheme had made project affected persons to be better off, as there has not been any post-implementation evaluation. Nevertheless, the implementation was done in a manner that is significantly better than compensation schemes carried out by government in terms of level of transparency and the amount of paid to us. It is my hope that estate surveyors involved in government compensation schemes will have learned a few lessons from this presentation. Thank you very much.
And also we have learned so many lessons from it. Please another round of applause for Dr. Brown. It was speaking, I was lecturing on us on preparation and implementation of the settlement action plan RAP for sustainable development of projects. The Akwa Newman experience. I'd like the chairman to make a few remarks. Mr. Chairman. Well, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, yes, I am subject to authority, and from the instruction above, we are going to take the next page of. But before we do that, let me warmly welcome Professor Godfrey of the University of Ibom, Kenya, when Dr. Sarah was about to present. We are happy to have you, Prof. Thank you very much. Also in our list is the surveyor of Balua, Raj Adewale, Vice Chairman, Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, Anambra State Branch. We are happy to have you. He's a fellow of the institution, please. He's a fellow of the institution. Right about now, we are going to take the next lecture, as it were. And this second lecture will be taken by a resource person that we love, that we speak so highly of, and that means so much to us. He's been speaking on ethics, guiding estate surveyors and valuers in valuing special purpose properties for compensation.
Noble colleagues, at this point, I was apologizing for the house being half empty or half full. Now it is too full. So I have to please crave the indulgence of very big people not seated on the high table to please come up to the high table. Not to create space, but to give them their due recognition. Professor Godfrey, please come up to the please come up to the high table. Secretary LEDA, please come up to the high table. Let me help the MC by quickly inviting the next lecturer Estate Paloma Women Celestine Udia. Please present his paper.
Good afternoon, everybody.
He's on. He's on.
Yes, my paper is on the ethics guiding the ethics surveyor and valuer in valuing special purpose properties for compensation. The paper will begin by saying that compulsory acquisition does not easily transfer land to the acquiring authority due to three major reasons. And they are, number one, the very nature of land. Number two is the poor and ineffective land acquisition process. And number three is the manner and nature as a surveyor and valuer conducts himself in the process of compulsory acquisition. Now, we know that there's always inability to get access to land because of the very nature of that. Land has a very distinctive nature, character of land, and the way land is always noted in the site. Land is very vital to human existence, very vital to life, and anybody doesn't want to lose his land very easily. Accordingly, to deny any person his property right, like a denying life. But despite that, land must be acquired by government to develop infrastructure. Number two, by the very nature of the process of compulsory acquisition, the process of compulsory acquisition is very weak and very, very ineffective. There are so many problems on the law, so many problems, and so many issues. Number 3, that I was saying, is that the agent surveyor and valuer is always on the receiving end. The government might look at him as being conniving with the property owner to cheat. As conniving with the property owner to cheat, is even accused of conniving with the property owner to cheat him, or the owner will believe that the agent surveyor is conniving with the government also cheating. So he is now the person who's in balance the interest of the government need for land and the right of the owner to not to get the land. Today, we're not going to waste too much time on those issues. The need for this paper today to discuss 3 major issues, and they are: what are the ethics that guide the regulate the practice of agent surveillance and valuation in Nigeria? Number 2, what are the ethical issues that may arise when valuing special public properties for compensation? And number 3, what are the challenges of maintaining ethical standards in compensation valuation practice to the agent surveyor and value? Now, you have seen from the guest lecturer, who people have defined, we are looking at that compulsory acquisition is the power of the government to acquire private property rights in land without consent of the property owner. This power is necessary for government to implement all its projects and programs. Without land, government cannot undertake any development issues. The power to acquire this land is also the process of which the power is exercised. The most crucial issue concerning compulsory acquisition of land in Nigeria is the question of compensation. In other words, compensation issues is at the center of compulsory acquisition. The question is, what is the problem? Is it the nature of compensation? Is it the very word compensation? According to Professor, he said whenever the word compulsory acquisition is mentioned, it raises concern, it raises interest, even by the government. Interest, the property owner will raise interest and concern. The developer also raise interest and concern. So we don't. What is it? Is it the very name? Compensation that creates issues. Is it that it is not adequate? Adequacy from whose point of view? Is it the point of view of government? Is it the point of view of the property owner? What is adequate? What is not adequate? Now, we look at now, that's why I'm today. I want to look at the process, the steps involved in compulsory acquisition. We people government to defend it for land, and we are being engaged throughout the process to the time of compensation payment, to the time about the land to the property owner, to the government. Now, the most current law for compulsory acquisition in Nigeria is the Land Use Act. I will not go to detail of the Land Use Act. We only go to section 29(4) of the Act that talks about compensation issues. Which are the land, if you need the rent, you pay it only for the year by entitled to. Buildings, installation and improvement, which the law has provided for only using the depreciated replacement cost method to value the structures and any others in the any other improvement in the form of implementation work. You now have to tender proper evidence to the appropriate authority, and then the crops we will know because we normally enumerate and value crops in the issue. Yeah. It is often argued that the intervention of government property rights can be regarded as the fulfillment of social function of property. But it has two major functions: economic function and social function. That without the public interest consideration, any intervention of government, people property can be regarded as confiscation. Then look at now ethics and the ethics of and valuation profession. Ethics is derived from the Greek word ethos, which means character. And it's a branch of philosophy that defines what is good for individual and for the society. In establishing obligation or duty, people owe themselves, people owe the other part, people owe even the public. The system of principles of moralities and stated conduct, the science of morals, moral principles or good, and accordingly, it is very, very important in the profession because it guides the conduct and behavior of individuals, professionals. Ethics is word-based standard of right and wrong that prescribe what human beings ought to do in terms of right and obligations to refrain from that right. The Ethics Surveillance and Global Administration Board of Nigeria has also provided a code of conduct, or what they call rules and regulations, for the practice of ethics surveillance and valuation in Nigeria, so as to guide its members in the course of discharging their professional duties. Note that in the absence of ethics, the ethics surveillance and valuation practice stagnate. For it's one of the ways of building the profession of bad ethics. Ethics is anchored on 5 major principles, and they are integrity, objectivity, competence, confidentiality, and professional conduct. That is taken directly from the International Valuation Standard Committee. Integrity has to do with the valuers being straightforward and honest in the professional relations. Should be objective, cannot allow conflict of interest or undue influence or bias to override its judgment. The valuers should have the competence, maintain the professional knowledge and skill required to ensure that its clients receive a service that is based on current development in practice, legislation, and valuation techniques. Let me go straight. I don't want to go too much time. Let me go straight to how do you value special purpose properties for compensation? What is special purpose property? What I call is those properties that are called special purpose properties, are called specialized properties or specially designed properties. According to Ogumba, due to the specialized nature of some properties, the utility is restricted to particular use, and they don't come over to the market. Simply put by Agugu, in that it does not normally come to the market. Some property doesn't have that value. So it is, if so, the NISV 2016 defines it as a property that is value if ever sold in the market, except by way of sale of the business or entity, which is part due to uniqueness arising from its specialized nature and design, its configuration, site and location, or otherwise. Some property will include combined amusement parks, cemeteries, funeral houses, golf courses, sport arenas, theaters, petrol stations, even including cultural properties. Also, what also understand that the decision on these two properties, whether they are special or not, one of them exhibit what I call the evidence of trading potentials, other one doesn't have trading potentials. If you are valuing normally as compensation and they are valuing hotels or filling stations, you will tell them that use profit maker to value hotels or profit or petrol station. So those that have been valued using other methods like hotels, who have the potential for profits, can be classified what we call those that exhibit potential for profit. Those other ones, like the schools, value the without profits. Apart from that, public confidence and trust in the valuation. You should display appropriate skill, knowledge, experience, and ethical behavior so as to form sound judgment and report the bill of value. Now, in applying the implementation cost method, there are two costs, the direct cost and the direct cost of building. The developer need to analyze two main key variables: the cost of building and depreciation allowance. The constitution court data may be sourced from many ways, but see, I'm talking about computation values. The main source of data that can guide you, if you want to challenge the valuation, is from the ministry, federal ministry, or state ministry of work. Not that you would have gone to the QS for contact that one. I'm telling you that it's that contact that was sourced from the ministry. Don't forget that ministry and one most of this from water question project is the data from the ministry that will give you a very fair ground to do your work. And that's the health valuation of special public property for compensation by data analysis, so data adjustment and allowance for depreciation. This way is needed for professional standard centered on ethics and conduct underpinned by knowledge and competence. Now, what are the ethics guiding the valuation of special public properties? I want to look at these ethics and break into 5 main stages. At the time you are sourcing and obtaining brief, what are you supposed to do to maintain ethics of the profession? Assume that you are fairly given a job or given the instruction to value the petrol filling station. They are not fair. Know very well that you have received briefs from their client, still do the work, still lobby property owner for the same job. Equally, you may go as far as the extent of bribing the property owner through gift or money so as to get the job from you. What about the promise? To charge property owner a lower fee and what prescribed in the scale of fees. But one may even go to the extent of portraying himself as the better and more qualified person, or the most holiest, or the new names. And it means that when you go to school, you never get past valuation. Without you, we have graduated. We say also things to get the job. Now, look at the field inspection pesticide. And then make more valuable to maintenance for the property. They rely only on information from their clients. Not that it is basic and state duty for any valuable to inspect property physically, thereafter you report yourself. There's only one exception. Unless you are valuing a date. You cannot go to inspect a date. You cannot inspect a date. You cannot go and measure a date. The only exception you cannot inspect a property physically when you are valuing a date. Since you believe that you can value without physical inspection, then one may be tempted to value a non-existing property. You may also assuming figures, property without carrying out after measurement. But you don't go to the field. You just 10 meters, it's 20. They turn that. They don't actually take the measurement of in the field. At times, you have been tempted here by the property owner to count immature trees and crops as they matured. Then look at what do we do? What are the ethics guiding and the data collection, data analysis? At times, most of all represent or interpolate figure within this stage. For example, writing down 9.75 square meters as what? 97.5. When you do that, if you don't check 9.75 and 97.5, you know you are getting down a very wider area. And what that will affect the actual valuation. What happened at the evaluation stage? Adopting a valuation method other than the implementation method that the law stipulates. Somebody now value the church. They believe that church has a larger congregation and there are much offerings. They now believe that we are using profit method to build that church because of the offerings. Value in cultural property, such as shrines and dates. We have to differentiate the items for appeasement, relocation. Take a look at that. We are valuing a shrine, we are valuing a date. And we value it by trying to look at the item for sacrifice for displacement, allocation, relocation, and that. You can depreciate a white goat with 4 heads. You will not. Now, adding capital value of land to that of the building, knowing very well that land is not recognized, the land is up. Using inflated rate per meter square to value the property, or what of the speculative structures you will find in the view, value them not very well. That structure has just been put there overnight. Or as if as a counting crops, you don't even fall down. Then you still value that kind of property. Then look at our rules. What guide us in the aspect of compensation pay? At times, community leaders will insist that some amount be deducted from the client money for community development, or non-disclosure of the actual amount due to claimant, or not allowing the claimant to see the list so that he may not know the real amount due to him, or deducting more than the approved fees by underpaying the claimant. Let's look at the challenges of maintaining ethical standards in compulsory acquisition to the estate surveillance and valuable. They are protecting his job because of overwhelming presence of non-estate surveillance and valuables in that acquisition. It is now a new development to find a non-estate surveyor and valuer as consultant to the government acquired authority in matters of that acquisition. It's happening now. We just see witnesses that in Calabar become highway, when they gave a job to a civil engineer for the Federal Ministry of Works to a civil engineer. And the person has submitted the basic surveyor and valuable. You have to project a good image to the client, maintain standard procedure, good sourcing, aesthetic brief, field inspections, data collection, and valuation. What about government engaging a ministry whose responsibility is not for land acquisition and compensation to engage in matter of compensation payment? To the extent that the commissioner may even go and pay the money alone with the staff of the Ministry of Works, while the staff of the Ministry of Lands, whose statutory responsibility is land matter, left behind. Increased rate of competition for available jobs might cause the valuer to consider the option of private negotiation for fees, even though he knows it is unprofessional. Poor working environment, tough policy, and made the valuer find it difficult to survive. Honorable colleagues, and gentlemen and ladies. The nation the surveyor and valuer should be up to date with legislation, current development, practice, valuation techniques, and the ethics guiding the practice. Note that ethics enhances good image to the profession and may help to eradicate gaps in the profession. Compensation valuation practice is a delicate issue and requires finding the balance between the public needs for land and the interests of the dispossessed owner. Unethical behavior can create tension and conflict between the government and the public, thereby reducing public confidence in governance. This paper, Mr. Chairman, has identified the problems that frustrate the current acquisition practice from delivering a sharing tract of land for sustainable development of infrastructure. It has also examined the challenges of the essence story of development in ethical decision making. It is necessary to state that the essence surveyor and valuer must maintain good ethical standards, and that maintaining good ethical standards will be defined in this context by the capacity to generate and sustain integrity, competence, confidentiality, objectivity, and professional behavior, which are the basic tenets that guide the practice of ethics surveying and valuation in Nigeria. Thank you.
I'm not going to bring for the MC, but while the MC is approaching the IT room, the chairman wants to say something. Word of action.
The MC, okay. Local colleagues, you've seen we've had a very useful day together. And we made an omission of not introducing the last speaker very well, so that some of us will know who he is. Vice Chairman, to please read his citation. It's a matter of 2 minutes, he will be done with it.
Mr. Chairman, sir. Members of the head table, fellows of the profession, ladies and gentlemen. It's a rare privilege to read the citation of an astute professional, seasoned academics, PhD, Celeste. Yeah. Yes, Celeste Media is an associate member of the National Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, and a registered estate surveyor and valuer. He has attended so many conferences organized by the institution at the national and state level, and presented papers in most of the conferences and mandatory
continuing professional development programs. He was the pioneer head, Department of Estate Management, Cross River University of Technology, Calabar. He once served as a sub-dean in the Faculty of Environmental Sciences, Cross River University of Technology, still in Calabar. He has taught valuation and environmental economics in the Department of Estate Management for many years and has published widely in journals. Esther Savan Balawa is the one-time vice chairman of the Cross River State branch of the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveys and Valuers. He has served in the Education Committee of the institution and is a member of the Mcpd Committee of the Cross River State branch. Esther Savan Balawa enjoys reading and writing. So when you see a man that talks authoritatively on issues of public concern, on issues of debate, you know he is a reader. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the second speaker for today that I just delivered power-packed, impactful, concise paper to us. E.L. Celestine, with their.
All right, thank you so much, Vice Chairman. Let me apologize for reading the citation after the presentation had been made. Okay, it was an unfortunate oversight on my part. Put the blame on me. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chairman, we're privileged to have in our midst Esther Savan Balawa Shabla Abich, a member of the council, immediate past National Secretary of the Institution, and one of the sponsors on our gathering today. Thank you so much, sir. You're welcome. I would like the chairman to make a few remarks. When we return, we'll be having a tea break. And before you crucify me, there's what we call brunch, when breakfast and lunch are combined together, taken together. So that is brunch. So I think that's what we'll be having. But before then, let Mr. Chairman make a few remarks.
Once again, we apologize for the CV climbing the ladder from the top, but we still landed successfully. And we have 1 more hour to stay here. I believe that a lot of us know what today is in Akwa Ibom State. The commissioners are about being sworn in now, and all of us are from the different local governments that we have to go and have entertainment with our commissioners. So right now, I have to bring the apologies of our #1 paramount ruler. I think I'm #2. #1 is Chief Francis. He could have been here. Can we give him a round of applause? This 1 hour after this lunch, what do you call it, brunch? I want to infuse, to allow about 20 minutes for that. Meanwhile, there will be concurrent events of asking questions. Those who have questions for the lecturers can lift their hands while holding their teacup in one hand. They lift one hand and ask the question. And the lecturers will just jump down at the end of all the questions. There shouldn't be so much question because you already know most of these issues. Then they will answer the questions and we will now get to goodwill messages, about 2 or 3 of them, so that by 2 o'clock, we will go for the swearing in of our commissioners. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me seize this opportunity to tell us how we're going to get our tea. The first together will be members of the head table. Immediately, members of the head table are done. The first row will follow. I will just be taking the thing row by row, and eventually all of us will have something to take. Please, that's it. The chairman has directed that we should take a couple of questions while we are getting ready to get our teams. Please, if you have any questions, I'm sure you must have jotted down 1 or 2 points, contribution questions. This is the time. We'll be giving each person 1 long minute to ask his question or make his or comment. Please, let's stick to time. Is the chairman has directed, and we must ensure that within the next 1 hour, we are over and done with everything that has to do with this event. Ladies and gentlemen, it's question time. Okay, I recognize that hand. Please give us your name and tell us who you are directing your question to or your comment to. Thank you.
Niesv Francis. Directing the question to Niesv. Don't know whether I didn't deal with it. I like to mention of construction rates throughout the lecture. So that's what I want to know. Or is it not relevant?
Okay, thank you. Niesv Francis. Bernard is asking about construction rates. Okay, another hand there is spotted. Place your name and who you are directing your question to.
Thank you very much, sir. My question is directed to the second speaker. Niesv. So my concern is on valuation of shrine as a special property. We have said that in the course of our valuation, we will not inspect shrines. And I've read some books, and I saw that sometimes we do have people we call the priest that is in charge of the shrine. And as a professional, which we are, if a priest gives us the information that to appease the shrine, we need a goat with 5 heads, and it is 40 million. And we as professionals can take, yes, we cannot have a goat with 5 heads. Should we not raise a eyebrow on 40 million to be given to such a goat? Should we not be concerned about it? Or should we just go ahead and recommend 40 million for such compensation?
Well, I think Estes of the Omani said, or I said, is also chief minister of some. His points and comments have been noted. Please, one more hand, or we home dry. And one more question. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. My question goes to Niesv Dr. Esara. In the course of a discussion, he talked about World Bank not wanting to be associated with third parties in issue of compensation. That's consultants that are representing the claimants or as they call it, and collecting money for them. What I want to ask, is it really a World Bank law, or it has to do with the influence of the state? What I'm saying so is that in Kano Maradi Railway project here in the country, where Adamu Kashi was the consultant to the World Bank, they were consultants to the PAC, that's the claimants. And Adamu actually deducted their fees and paid them after they duly represented their clients. So I really want to know, does it have to do with World Bank indeed? Then why did it happen in that case? Or is it part of the state influence? So we know where we stand. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that it's senior members of the commission will ask questions. Finish chairman. Chairman.
I am not really asking a question, but I want to make a few comments. The first will go to ESB, Dr. Yesara. In going through your paper, you talk about RAP, but I need you to clarify a few items for me on the effect of RAP on wetland valuations, which I'm sure you have extensively treated in another department, which is not before this conference. So that a lot of people will be able to know the approach to go through when valuing assets that within wetlands. Then the second question or comment will go to Dr. Celeste. We're talking about ethical values. And if we're talking about ethical values, there are several expectations both from the clients as well as the principal. The principal may tell you that I have 10 million to pay for compensation overall, irrespective of the values you have arrived at. And you submit a report which is far, far higher, and which you have used all the parameters to value. And then you now start fighting between yourself and your principal. Where does the ethical values pass? And where does it end? Because on the other hand, you might be cheating the claimants only to impress the person that I am. I think there is a dividing line between the two. Because I have seen a couple of times me fighting with my principals over the values. Then I said, okay, sir, let us exchange licenses. Take my own and take it. So that by the time you sit down on this other end, you know that I have to be fair to the person that is the claimant, as well as fair to you that is paying the money. Finally, sir, I said I'm going to make two products, but let me make a subset of number two to thank you and me. That is the resource person for a well-researched paper. I must commend you for good delivery and good presentation. Thank you very much, sir. God bless. My name is Victor. I am a fellow of this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to sincerely appreciate resource persons for job well done. My question is for Dr. Eden Messiah on the presentation. The details for or policies for the assessment of RAP is well detailed by World Bank, and land is inclusive of the assessment, which he mentioned. And I'm aware that there were some people that were affected, displaced along the corridor of IBB, Ibesipo, road, the drainage. And I'm still aware that those people, I don't know whether to call it compensated or resettled, but certainly there are issues still on. And I want to also ask for clarification whether the policy of assessing RAP was backed up by Land Use Act at a point, because it will appear as the payment was going on, and some persons that got to the ministry, to the office of New Map, received response such as the state government decided to adopt Land Use Act. So the clarity I need, I'm aware that the project of the New Map had to do with counterpart form from the point of the end of the state, which is perhaps certainly to play the route. But I need clarity. Are we combining Land Use Act and then the policies of World Bank as we assess for New Map? Thank you very much.
Fellow colleagues, at this point, I believe everybody understood the lecture very well. I veto any other question and allow the lecturers to respond.
Let me hear the question very well again. The first question on the construction cost. I was saying that we are using depreciated repayment cost methods. They're not. And we are valuing either petrol filling stations or hotel. And you know the process involved for superficial area. You are applying cost per meter square. That one thing. And I said that the most reliable, don't forget this is a compensation violation, being dictated by law. Most of this job is acquired by government. Government gave you as a consultant, you do a job for them. I said that the most appropriate place to go for the construction cost per meter square is that government ministry, Federal Ministry of Works. That if you use your cost anywhere, I know what I'm saying. I feel it. Where I will now do your valuation and send to them, they will go to the ministry and visit what the ministry is saying. The main permitters in the bill is. So I'm not saying that you don't use cost method because you cannot be narrow method to value special board property, even if you were proposing for compensation. That possible. And the cost the meter square is adopted now. And for this purpose, it is cost the meter square approved and adopted by the Federal Minister of Works or State Minister of Works. I got a question. The second question, still on me, is the valuation of the shrines or date. And he now mentioned that in case you go to the community and the chief priest, that's what they used to do. To give you the list. They will give you. Don't forget that the Land Use Act has not even given you mention that, but we know that they pay for those cultural properties. That's why you are the agent surveyor and valuable. You must equally also adopt what reliable value from what you know. You know, also government. Go to the government, they will give you what they have been paying for grave, this how much is what they get for grave. Even if you want to find that grave 200 million, they will not give it to you. You have to discuss the negotiate that competition valuation. People that want again, I mentioned very well. Look at it, that did not come up in the I was trying to say that. Competition valuation started from different times. From Kenya, when he wanted the vineyard of Nabo, he offered the better vineyard. Why did he say no? Offered him vineyard, what's the value? He said no. What did he mean? He paid for his life. It is based on 2 million concept or market value concept or the value of identification. What you have to do as a value one, you want to protect your job and your profession. You will not allow the chief priest to dictate. He will tell you that you prefer that value of his shrine. And if you don't pay him the debts, will summon him to appear in your council. And you know, when they somebody pay their council, you are there. So use appropriate consult. Look at what the government will pay and negotiate and discuss with the chief priest, not the demand 40 billion for a small thing that may even be put there overnight. Some of the shrines you are seeing that we normally see in practice are speculative shrines. The one that spring up overnight, I wasn't there. Is that okay? So let me go straight to my very best friend. Talking about agents.
Thank you very much. Let Prof make his comment to hand over to Dr. Sam. Chairman application, members of the High Tech Board, fellows, associates, other members. I'd like to make a comment. I have lived through this profession, and I'd like to raise an issue. I don't think you have the answers. I don't have the answer. But it's something that you should think about. The concept of depreciated replacement cost is generally misunderstood by us as surveyors and the government. And nobody asked us to do what we are doing right now. I'll ask a question. What is the depreciated replacement cost of the car you're driving? What is it? In your head, you know that the depreciated replacement cost of your car is the value you can get by somebody who has assessed that car and told you this is the land price. In the experience of that person, he doesn't sit down to say this is the cost of a new one. This is depreciation, take it out, and then you obtain the depreciated replacement cost. That's number one. If you get into our textbooks, you will see that this concept is there. And that is why TRC is a conceptual notion. It's a conceptual notion, which means to find the depreciated replacement cost of an item,
Look at, I've just mentioned the car. Look at the cost of an identical car that is old. How much do people pay for it? Look at the value of that same car, identical car, new. What are they paying for it? The difference is the depreciation. And that is the conceptual placement cost. And that is the conceptual buying value of the car. Now, 1978, we have the Land Use Act, and it is Sarah, if I came up with it, I was told. When you look at the laws that are applicable on the right side of the variation and the ones applicable on the left side of the variation, the Land Use Act is the worst law anywhere in the world on land. On property rights, go to any place. This is based on a study we've done, Professor Higgins, University of Nigeria, and that all the laws of land in the world, the land use decree is the worst. It is the one that gives these acknowledgements or rights to anyone. So when he presented his paper, I simply said to him, I asked him, which of the laws he used in Nigeria? And he gave me a very simple answer to solve the problem. You give the land to the highest bidder. And the law that they used under Newman is the land is the value by the highest bidder, the person who can pay. And the highest bidder can pay for everything that acknowledges the rights of any man.
Thank you so much, Professor. At this juncture, I'll go to Dr. Isara to handle the questions that were addressed to me.
First question from my sister concerning the third party stuff. The third party that government does not recognize third party representation. Well, it all depends on the agreement entered into by World Bank with that particular state. In our state, it was very clear. And also, if it is the federal, that if it is a federal project, that is a completely different ballgame. You can use the third party representation can be understood. But in Akwa state, it was very difficult for me as a person. In fact, I had to call for assistance from my sister who is asking this question, and many other barriers to bring to bear on government the need for third-party representation when it comes to colonization issues. We wouldn't go succeed in full. I'm happy that the Valuable General is here, who was serving at that time. We did what we could, but we didn't really push it. But it all depends on the agreement. The agreements that we had as at that time which is exactly what the then person was asking. The combinations and laws and rules and all of that between World Bank and the state government, between land use acts and the World Bank rules and regulations. Truth is, it depends on the rules, it depends on the agreements entered into by the statement, by the state government in respect to that particular project. And in respect to this other project, Akwa state government was responsible for RAB and RAB preparation and RAB implementation. And to that extent, it was difficult for us to press too far for us to begin to use World Bank standards and pay compensation in Akwa. The only thing we could do was in respect to rates, which we were able to push through, because as we were working in 2018 and 2019, the 2012 rates were already very obsolete. Effect of RAB on wetland valuation. I'm sure my brother, fellow and ESB Victor wants me to talk about what he already has in his kit. Yes, he has alluded to the fact that I have a lot of publications and I have experience in that event. RAB actually recognizes intangibles. There is no doubt about that. It recognizes intangibles, it recognizes social, cultural properties. And it is the regression model of models that we can compare according to Professor that we can go through combination to be able to solve that. But in case you are not satisfied with the papers I sent to you, consult me privately so that I can hear from you. Thank you. Sorry, actually, not yet, sir, not yet, sir. It's our time in public of this paper.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much. I think the resource persons have done justice to the questions. And at this juncture, I will most respectfully invite a couple of our guests here to come and present their goodwill messages. The first person to do that is the immediate past Honorary National Secretary of the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, and currently an executive member of the council. Is here in our midst. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Estate Surveyor and Valuer, Shola Adej. Please around my close.
Good afternoon, the chairman of this event. Permit me to stand on already established protocols for this program. I want to say a very big thank you and appreciation to the Ibom branch for bringing up this kind of topic at a very crucial time as this. Even though I came late, my flight was a bit delayed. The bit I met really were very incisive discussions, and I must also commend the last speaker who I met when I came in. The insight into his presentation was also very amazing and also thought-provoking. I'd like to thank everyone who has made it to this event, and on behalf of myself and my colleagues in the branch, we say big thank you and God bless you all.
Thank you so much, our dear council member. We are privileged to have you in our midst. Another person to present this goodwill message is no other than the state chairman, that's the Ibom state chairman of Association of Professional Bodies of Nigeria, APPN, in the person of Elder Honorable Joshua Ayo Asupo. Please.
Thank you so much. The chairman of the occasion, very distinguished estate surveyor and valuer, a politician, a member of the Traditional Ruling Council in his own domain. Upon I respect you. The national president of the Nigerian Institute of Estate Surveys and Valuers, the chairman of the branch, His Excellency, Special Guest Honor, who I just met. I want to say that my goodwill message goes beyond what we are doing today. First of all, let me disabuse the mind that we came in very late when the keynote address was going on by distinguished Senator Akwa. I stand on behalf of all of those who came very late. It's as a result of the timing. The chairman didn't get back to us that this occasion was adjusted in terms of time. So our original time review was 10 o'clock. So when we came in here, we were very short and I was ashamed. So on behalf of all those that came late, don't be ashamed. It's because of the adjustment on time. Today, I needed to be in Mcpd to also flag off the agenda, the rice agenda. And I can tell you, having sacrificed Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, day and night, as a resource person, in no way I could have also sacrificed today, other than coming to sacrifice with the Nigerian Institute of Estate Surveys and Valuers. There's reason. In our local panel, they said, my friend Dan told me. In the days of Egerton is when APBN came into existence. I'm sure Egerton is here. And it's one of the family members of APBN. And then after Egerton was John Isahadi. And John Isahadi is here. Today is Ubuntu. And in all of this, I have seen the support of Nigerian Institute of Estate Surveys and Valuers, APBN survivor in Akwa State. So I want to use this opportunity to thank the leadership, even the council member, Shola. I want to also thank you for rising to be a council member in the institute and to assure that Nigerian Institute of Estate Surveys and Valuers will always remain at the top of affairs as far as Akwa State chapter of APBN is concerned. Egerton is a financial secretary, but I can tell you authoritatively that in the next election that is coming up by next month or so, Nigerian Institute of Estate Surveys will come up and contest election as the deputy vice chairman of the state. And do everything to make sure we support that person to win that election. That's why I say that the goodwill message is beyond. So we don't work out that modality to make sure. That's why when the notice came to us, we had to make sure the general secretary is here and the chairman of NI will be. Other chairmen went to Meridian, but we said it must be here in Nigerian Institute of Estate, Institution of Estate Surveillance and UI. Congratulations for maintaining the ethical standard of values in this thing. And I believe this is the time because what His Excellency the Governor is doing is recognizing professionals now. So all those things we have lost over the years, we are going to get it back. So Mr. Chairman, don't be discouraged. Mr. Chairman, don't be discouraged. Those things we have lost over the years, we are going to get them back. Because in His Excellency the Governor, when I listened to him spoke on Monday, and his program, his aspiration for the state, in fact, touches on the professional. So what you need to do is for you to maintain your ethical values and maintain high level of professionalism. We will use in the affairs of government. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you for the assurance that our things shall come back to us in Jesus' name. Amen. Mr. Chairman, whereas the resource persons distinguish themselves and goes to the vocation of the challenge, whereas we are satisfied that they presented their papers very well, and we have benefited tremendously, therefore, I therefore come to you and request that you please use your group offices and confer awards of recognition for exemplary presentation of today's lectures. Mr. Chairman, please.
Yes, noble colleagues, at this point, I crave the indulgence of two dignitaries here to make the plaque presentation. The chairman of APM shall present the plaque to Chief Celestine Odia, and the chairman, the immediate past secretary of our noble institution, Niesv shall present the plaque to Dr. Ibom Niesv.
It is my pleasure and honor on behalf of the chairman and the special guest, the national president, chairman of the branch, the entire membership of the Nigerian Institution of the State Sovereign Valuers, and all of us seated and standing here to present to you Estate Surveyor and Valuer Celestine Odia for your quality presentation during the 2023 mandatory continuing provisional program of the Nigerian Institute of Estate Surveyors and Valuers. You present. God bless you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It is Dr. Ibom Niesv. This plaque is presented to you on behalf of the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, Akwa branch, as an award of honor as a speaker in these particular events. I'd like to say that when we have missions like who come out selflessly to promote the institution, to promote the profession, it gives hope to younger students that the future is bright. And we are collectively saying thank you very much, and please keep up. Thank you very much.
First, noble colleagues, I would say in conclusion, we have gained more than 15 minutes from the 1 hour. But I acknowledge to allow me to make my own comments for about 3 minutes, and then you give me some bragging rights for 2 minutes. I know why I want to brag. For my comments, I want the communication committee to really emphasize our observation as professionals that the past government for the past 8 years have been acquiring lands in the state with almost illegality. They have acquired lands illegal for 8 years in Ibom state for not following due process from revocation notice nil from the appropriate officer, and they have even made the appropriate officer post to become a threatened post. That is, the appropriate officer feels threatened so that he or she is not able to stand his or her feet to do the right thing. And then the second issue, this is about effective land acquisition for sustainable development. You know, our name in the outside world, like in UK, in US, we are actually land economists. That is the name they know for us more appropriately outside estate management. And we have observed that there is no land economy in acquisition of land. Bring all the I remember that during COVID-19 in June precisely, the state government acquires land in 5 local government areas. One was in Oran, 5,000 something hectares for breeding of Mexican cows. And the other one in Eke for expansion of the steel mill. And the other one in Oran and 3 villages gone. and the other one in Oboraka. I rushed that time. There were 18 villages involved. I paid for 11 villages to take me and about all the money I put in there lost. It's my account. But 419 acquisition up till today, nothing has been done. If you go to land now and ask them what has become of this land, the present government, when he was the commissioner for land, I went there in 2021 and I was in early 2022 and asked him, he said, I don't see such a fact that can be. So we are in a position to advise God that government that whenever they want to take a project, they should do pre-feasibility study and know what size of land is adequate for what project, not to take people's land and render those people useless, because now nobody can go to those communities and want to buy them and they cannot sell them again. Those lands are something to stay. That is my comment, and government should go to that. They should remember to make that. It's a pity that the institution maybe was not properly briefed. The institution should have given one of the key members in that. And then at this point, I want to go back to the bragging. Yes, the bragging of Solomon and partners having contributed to the institution, having added value to the institution. I just sat down here today and noticed that how we have done some staff of Solomon and partners. Two have become heads of department of estate management. Chicheta, please stand now. In a federal university, not be one. Please. Oh, sorry, it's not here. Okay, okay, madam. Okay, please start off for the head of department. Also listed something that the influence of some human partners when we want to look for evidence of their ones. Then, taking the academics, the number one Soludo and partners who has become the director or the head of department of properties in an international oil company in Nigeria and in Ghana. Imagine like this. Of course, the appropriate officer is for land and his grant levy. Where is the form? Okay, those are also the partners. Okay, there are many more in your book. Others, but also let me present those that work with me while I was in the government. Number one is Sarah. You agent bishop, the whole bishop. Barrister Imendu. Where is Madam Achimbo? She has left. Others, okay. Mighty Wowo, Ido Etumwa. Others that have not seen can just shake their hands. So I want to say I have done my best. So if you see me being chairman, don't be very. Okay. I now invite my man, a bit of Professor Ume, John Ume, used to call it the way. If you know what that means, you know. So also the chairman of and here are my and also let the president of the institution. Also, the branch of organizing this CPD, which is very topical. And I'm still very careful what it does. And I was very impressed with that presentation. On the material skills, we have to be more serious at professional. We don't allow outsiders to wax to tell us how to practice our profession. I'm saying this for what Professor Gudo said about TRC. We have to tell the government what is value. Value is the cost. Give a good example. If you are value, you can do so this guy, what price will it go for? What is the price of the new one? It's not the price of the new one and old one. Cost association, functional, economic, and strong information taking place. So when you call of them, what is that? So you can see apply that for buildings or structures without people. So because even one bar is found at a writing that they have, but on a bad question of our what bank and not against are making things easier. Say that the clever should not be worse off than they are God to be a God action. But in Nigeria, even when you have evaluations out, the project is then we should value to government. If you are doing a bridge or good project, and you take them 1 million there, and line, father, what do you do? Innovation. Or good project, perhaps. But when you go to that, famous on every must accept what is said. Government on the point of the publisher. Therefore, government to make people put their life. So we have to make some active ways of the way that our success will not be published. That was that. There's really is not a big that's the justice. And what want to share interest that people are in the law. So I'm sure they will sit down and find out. I think that what their own have improved the guidelines for boundary land competition. Their new resource that bring to that. The profession there is much better than what was in the past. So the journey is so far. I have to sit down and ask functional
Thomas. I'm not having them to study. I'm not having the chance. So
at this point, we have 2 minutes remaining. I'd like to call on the man plan all this very successful event. It's for the young man to make his comments, and thereafter, don't thank us. There is somebody to thank us, and that is the vice chairman of the branch.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My noble colleagues, fellows, associates, estate surveyors, valuers, and invited guests. I am, as a person, highly impressed about the turnout into this event, and the question that you have submitted instead to the close of this meeting. The points that you have raised, which international communities seem to overlook on the situations in Nigeria. So I thank God that we have been able to bear in mind, and our rapporteur will shortly be able to come up with the communique that will show the world and Nigerian government about the shortcomings and how to address them. Thank you very much for coming. God bless you all in Jesus' name.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, the Division, Board of Trustees Chairman, members of the LTV, fellows of the institution, honorable colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, my job been executed in parts. Closing remarks have been offered by the chairman of the Mcpd committee. And what it does for me, the very simple straight line task. To tell you thank you for sharing your time with us. I'd like to thank the chairman, particularly the chairman of the Board of Trustees, for the long years for this branch, by suspending every engagement to be part of us here. I thank the chairman of the branch chairman, Association of Professional Bodies of Nigeria, Private States, for being part of us. Let me particularly appreciate the resourcefulness of our resource persons. They have dipped into their wealth of experience and has given to us. We truly appreciate this sacrifice of time, energy, and internet that you have shared with us. Thank you for your resourcefulness. Thank you for creativity. Thank you for knowledge sharing. For our guests, truly, without you, there will be no Mcpd today. Your presence made all the difference. And the branch truly appreciate it. It is true for everything that at the beginning, one certainly have an end. So this event has run full cycle. So we thank you and pray that God Almighty that brought you here safely will take you home in the name of Jesus Christ. And we will call on you next time. Because of the warmth of today, you'll be glad to respond again. Thank you, and thank you.
All right, thank you. That was the vote of thanks proposed by the branch vice chairman, Estate Surveyor Valua. Thank you so much, sir. It was a nice one. At this juncture, we invite a man of God. Not that Akwa is not a man of God. His job was to propose the word of God. So a man of God now is ready to lead in the closing prayer. But let me just say Please, immediately after the closing prayer, members of the entire body are requested to pose here for a good photograph, and senior members of the branch, United Church will also join them, and all that. All right, Mr. Chairman, may I invite Esther Solian, Reverend Emmanuel, and the doctor, please, into the closing prayer.
We more God as we rise for prayers. Our Father and God, we appreciate you for this wonderful gathering. We thank you for successful deliberation. Thank you for all the guests brought far and wide up to this place. We appreciate you for the divine safety. We thank you for the divine provision. So going back, Father, we ask that you lead us to right. Evil report shall never be our portion. Thank you for what you have done. For return all glory back unto you. In Jesus' name we have prayed.
And on this third, very disciplined, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of today's Mcpd program. A very thank you to all of us for making it down here and for being patient. God bless you. May you enjoy joining us to your respective destinations. Cameraman, please, where are you? Come back, Alex. Yes. How they are going to stand for the movement together.
Bosman. Yeah. How far now? Long time. I've been watching Namiki Park.